It's going to be very possible for us to look at the implications of Raila Amolo Odinga really campaigning heavily on that top AU job. The possibility of him getting it now looks a bit certain, with the President's Party UDA coming out to indeed back him for that top AU job. This morning, we're going to look at what it means then for Raila Amolo Odinga's political career locally as he traverses the world, essentially campaign for that particular job. This is the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. There's much we're going to look at this morning, but basically talk about the implications of that in local politics. Kalonzo Musyoka has been speaking about to read anything that we can use as a tell and tell signs for what's going to happen in a 2027 in that particular collusion. Also talk about the possibility then of the ODM coming out clear on who they're going to support to take up the local agenda. Case in point, the housing levy issues across the country, on petitioning the government, on IEBC and the reconstitution of IEBC, and many other issues as well that ODM has to currently figure. The hashtag is the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. Let's take a look at exactly what it is that you're waking up to this morning on your day list. All right, the Daily Nation this morning is talking about why the mountain is restless. They're talking about how DP Gachagua is forced to reprimand hecklers during presidential tour of the region. Uhuru Kenyatta placed his legacy on the line in a successful succession plan. There's also President RUTO working to consolidate support in the region, key to his re-election bid. There's a story here on page 8 on Cabinet Secretary's Moment of Truth. Ministers and House leaders gather in Naivasha for summit to take stock of the government's performance that observers say could trigger the first shake-up of Kenya Kwanza administration. There's a story here on page 10 as well. Inside the 4 trillion budget to pay debt, foster growth. Now the government has unveiled the 2024-2025 financial year spending plan that coincides with the mega loan maturities that have forced imposition of harsh taxation measures. That story has been covered on page 10. Kalonzo, we will soldier on without Raila. Story has been covered on page 5. Former Vice President says the AU top job bid for Raila Odinga will not derail the opposition coalition from the goal to check government and offer alternative leadership. There's also a story here on the dark side of Kenya Power. The story has been covered on page 6 and 7. In the state monopoly tasked to light up the country, keep industries running and critical services like hospitals sustaining lives, but the operations of one of the key national installations have kicked up a national furore over inordinate delays in new connections, repair of broken down transformers and questionable billing systems. Story has been covered on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation. On the back page, you're going to read the story of Henry Bono, the renowned long-distance runner who passed on last week. The story here on how he ran the hardest race of his life against American star Salazar and Warner. All right, the legendary athlete Henry Bono, who broke 4 world records inside 81 days in 1978 during a past interview at his home in Kaptagon Village, Nandi County. The story, an interview that was done in 2021 by the Daily Nation. Got to read it at the back page. Good, let's cross over to the Standard this morning. Cheers to GS, RUTO no longer darling of many. Increasingly, the president is facing hostile crowds from his support base. He started in Rift Valley and now Mount Kenya, has perfected the art of jeering leaders in his presence. Has a populace race out of patience with the leaders, or are they just frustrated? A story that has been covered on page 4. This is a quote here. I want leaders to be respected. Heckling is for ODM, and we don't want ODM shenanigans in UDA. We do not want this kind of nonsense. We want a united country. You can read that story on page 4. London woman goes to jail over Nairobi FGM. Story has been covered on page 3. And Trump hit where it hurts most. Those are world news on page 21. And there's a story here on how banks to pay more for licenses. Story has been covered on page 19. And women coaches will not let go of the balls. Story has been covered on page 30 and 31. Story here on Joho's 2027 staff rattles ODM diehards. Former Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho's presidential ambition as star ODM, with leaders taking out who will inherit Raila's post as the party primaries back on. Story has been covered on page 8 of the Standard. And Kenya Morans focus on the ultimate prize. Now Kenya Morans seek to come past hurdles in 2025 AfroBasket qualifiers. You're going to read that story on page 32 of the Standard. Business Daily this morning is talking about how Karen now is pouncing on high-end barbershops and beauty parlors in the country. Now, tax officers hounding barbers, hairstylists, and drivers. Now, carry tax fight against tax cheats to the informal sector. Going to read that story on page 2 of the Business Daily this morning. There's also a story here on how Kenya now moves to regulate Bitcoin trade on a grey listing risk. You're going to read that story on page 2 as well of the Business Daily this morning. And the back page is talking about Kenya is making partial 210 billion shillings repayment and Eurobond debt. You're also going to read that story on the back page of the Business Daily. That's exactly what it is you're waking up to this morning on your newspapers this morning. Majority of these stories have been covered on our website on www.lookuptv.co.ke. We take a tiny breather. Once we come back, I'll be taking you straight to the newsroom this morning, where we get to look at some of the biggest stories that you are also waking up to, in as much as our newsroom is concerned right here on Lookuptv. The government will fully support Azimio Chief Raila Odinga's bid to succeed Musa Faki Mahamat as the chairperson of the African Union Commission. This is according to government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura. As Mevin Getembe now reports, Mwaura now says if the bid will be successful, it will be a big win for the country.
Days after making public his intentions to vie for the African Union Commission chairmanship with former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo by his side,
I'm inclined to accept the challenge. Should the leadership of Africa want my services, I am ready and offer myself to be of service to this continent.
The former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has received backing from the Kenya Kwanza government, vowing to rally support for the opposition chief, saying he is ripe to offer the position.
Fully support the candidature of Right Honorable Raila Odinga to be the AU Commission chair, so that we can safeguard the interests of our country as a country, because when you advance, you want to go and lead in matters of foreign policy, it benefits the country. But also to ensure that in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, Africa is able to advance its interests
And if Odinga qualifies, the AU chairperson, who is equivalent to the CEO of the continental bloc, will be tasked with critical responsibilities like controlling and accounting for finances of the organ. The chairperson will enjoy a monthly salary of approximately 2 million shillings and allowance for his eligible children, and transition to the AU job will be a subtle exit from the local politics. The AUC chairperson positions has a 4-year tenure, with his mandate of the office being renewable once, and the position is categorized as a full-time diplomatic assignment. The second annual retreat for the government and senior members in the government is set to commence tomorrow at Lake Naivasha Resort. The retreat, according to Maura, is aimed at evaluating the government's achievements and assess the alignment of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda plan.
Things are improving, and let's give credit where it is due. All of the things that this government is doing, led by His Excellency President William RUTO, they are amounting to something. And we believe this is the year of performance. This is a year of performance, and that is why, ladies and gentlemen, we then do have the retreat. And so therefore, allow me to say,
the AU debate comes as President William RUTO gets appointed as the African Union champion for the institutional reform by the Assembly of the African Union heads of state and the government in Addis Ababa. Mavin Getembe, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Let's continue then. President William Ruto has voted for the setting up of the Africa Economic Summit, which would chart the continent's development path. Speaking at the 37th ordinary session of the Assembly of the African Union in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Ruto said the summit would then invite friends, countries from other parts of the world, corporations and philanthropists to give their views.
The 37th African Union Summit is still ongoing in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. Speaking today at the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, President William Ruto emphasized on the need for African states to reform international financial architecture, especially on the strength of the African currencies.
We have also managed to change the conversation and position the reform of the international financial architecture appropriately.
Ruto, who is now the African Union champion for institutional reforms, has continuously rooted for continental institutions that will aid in mushrooming its growth internationally.
We recognize these institutions, namely the Afrexim Bank, Trade and Development Bank, Africa Finance Corporation, Africa Reinsurance Corporation, Africa Trade and Investment Development Insurance, and Shelter Afrique as agencies of this institution of AU, significantly to put a badge of approval or a stamp of approval on these institutions as African institutions that will support our own growth using our own institutions.
Additionally, the president steered for the setting up of the Africa Economic Summit, which would chart the continent's development path. He argues that this summit shall invite necessary stakeholders for collective ideologies.
We also undertake to fashion an African Economic Summit and invite friends, countries that want to work with us, corporations that want to work with us, philanthropies.
Nevertheless, Africa has been urged to manufacture their own vaccines in order to curb vaccine nationalism. AU resolving that by the year 2040, 60% of vaccines used in Africa will be produced locally, which will be underpinned by solid research capacity in vaccines.
The time has come for the African Union member states to take bold and decisive steps in implementing homegrown solutions to our health security challenges. As regards vaccines, we must build a holistic ecosystem incorporating the entire value chain all the way from research and development to clinical trials, local production, as well as efficient distribution and delivery.
Ruto was in the company of several cabinet secretaries, inclusive of Eden
The
Duale
success of
and
vaccine
Susan
manufacturing
Humicha.
initiative is predicated on a regional approach to ensure sustainability and supporting the continental harmonization of efforts in the areas of regulatory affairs, research and development, and most importantly, the workforce development that is required. Heads of states and government will amplify the rallying call for vaccine manufacturing capacity through building end-to-end, project-driven vaccine initiatives while emphasizing the need for a self-sufficient and sustainable vaccine ecosystem in Africa.
Ruga Evil, Lookuptv.
The government will commence a 4-day retreat today in Naivasha to review the performance of cabinet secretaries, permanent secretaries and top government officials with the aim of evaluating significant achievements in various sectors. The program was launched in 2022 to assess the government's performance in its 23 ministries, along with the 52 government departments and 348 non-governmental organizations. Now, 60% of the amount collected by the Kenya Revenue Authority is used for paying debt. The rest is for paying salaries and funding counties. This makes it difficult to finance development in the country. This is according to the National Treasury PS, Chris Kipto. And as Brown Amoy now reports, the Permanent Secretary says the country is short of revenue, which forces the government to borrow in order to finance development. Let's take a look.
Government's decision to take another Eurobond loan has taken the country into a moment of disarray, with critics arguing that it was not the right move. The new loan now puts the public debt at 10 trillion, with 51% of the debt being external debt. The new $1.5 billion loan was acquired in order to offset the earlier $2 billion loan, whose maturity was coming up in July. However, an extra $1 billion loan has been added to the initial loan, surging the public debt. National Treasury PS now says the loan was a good move, as the nation will use the money to offset current loans, saying that the remaining balance will be offset by July.
Eurobond was a big problem because it had caused the wrong perception, because many people believed we will not be able to pay. But now we have sorted this problem once and for all. And by today, yesterday, I can confirm to you all the 1.5 billion which we issued, we have received and we have used to settle through what we call a buyback, the 1.5. So what is remaining now on the 2 billion euro bond is 500 million, 500 million. What is remaining now is 500 million, which we have factored in through our current budget to settle, and I can confirm to you that we will settle by the June deadline that we have. So if you are fearing about Eurobond, we have now settled. So
in last year's budget, the government increased taxes to meet budget demands and pay debts. However, KRA failed to reach its target, forcing the government to go back and borrow the remaining amount to finance its budget. Speaking during the meeting with businessmen in Eldoret, Chris Kipto, the Principal Secretary, National Treasury, says the government is trying to minimize expenditures, with expected collection from KRA this year standing at 3 trillion. The total expenditure is 3.9 trillion, having a deficit of 900 million. This is due to loss of value of a shilling to the dollar.
Mapato yetu hailingani na matumizi. Ile pesa ya matumizi hailingani na pesa ile tunapata. Ile mapato kutoka kwa KRA, asilimia 60 tunaitumia kwanza kulipia deni. Na hiyo ni pesa mingi sana. Ile inabaki kwa tunalipa mishahara na ile matumizi kidogo kidogo ya wafanyikazi, na tunalipa counties. Kwa hivyo kufanya maendeleo, pesa inatubidi tuende tuchukue deni.
KRA has not met the target of 200 billion expected. The government's target is to hit 1.5 trillion by July, but to date they have only managed to get 1.3 trillion. Branamwai, Lookuptv.
The Ministry of Health intends to table a bill in the National Assembly on guidelines regarding the quality of healthcare. According to the Principal Secretary, State Department of Health, Mary Muthoni, the bill is aimed at ensuring all health facilities are up to the required standard in a bid to ensure proper healthcare provision to Kenyans.
Have access to better healthcare being top of President William Ruto's agenda, the Ministry of Health will now table a bill in Parliament set to give guidelines on the quality of care in hospitals across the country. According to the Principal Secretary, State Department of Health, Mary Muthoni, the bill will aid in assessing the state of the over 14,000 health facilities across the country, with that being the first step in ensuring the quality of healthcare is improved.
We are already in the process of drafting the quality of care bill. We've already done the assessment of levels of all the hospitals in the country, more than 14,000 health facilities in the country. So what is remaining is knowing what will these health facilities bring on the table. Will the human resources for health in these health facilities perform properly their mandate? Do we have the right equipment and modern ones to give the quality that we deserve?
With the new health scheme expected to take effect in coming weeks, the PS noted that facilities that will be approved under the bill will be allowed to offer health services under the Social Health Insurance Fund.
And when they are inspected, they will be approved. And those are the health facilities that will be used at the Social Health Insurance Authority. They'll be recommended to be serving the people using the social health.
In addition, with registration of Kenyans under the scheme expected to start on the 1st of March, Muthoni assured Kenyans of provision of better healthcare under the scheme, with the expenses of those in the lowest cadre of life to be paid by the national government.
1st of March, we are sure that, God willing, we will be able to start the registration process of the social health insurance. It is good for Kenyans, it is good for all of us, so that we also do not keep subjecting only the people with a pay slip to pay for insurance. The health facilities at the bottom of the pyramid, the level 2, when you go to hospital, you will not be charged. And as you progress to other levels, then you will be subjected to produce your social health insurance card. And finally, somebody may ask, what about those who cannot afford? The government has a way of getting to know the economic status of each and every individual in the country.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
Finally, then this morning, businesses came to a standstill in Bungoma town after a hired bulldozer demolished structures purported to be on road reserves to pave way for road expansion. As George Kayesi now narrates, angry traders were seen trying to salvage their belongings before the bulldozers in the company of county and police officers brought down the Jamia Mosque business structures. Let's take a look.
This is the picture in Bungoma town. Traders are counting huge losses after the county government demolished their business structures for allegedly being built on road reserves.
Mimi ni mmoja wao ambao nimekuwa na duka hapa kwa msikiti. Imetustajabisha sana kwa sababu jana jioni ndio watu wa kutoka kwa county government walikuja wakiweka X kwa manyumba. Na tulipowauliza watakuja kubomoa siku gani, hawakuwa na jibu. Lakini sasa leo mchana tumeshtukia tu lori imekuja na mapolisi na tukaambiwa tutoe vitu zetu ndani. Tumekata license za hii mwaka. Kuanzia Januari tumekuwa tukikata permit and we have already done that. Lakini haijalishi kama wamechukua pesa zetu. Walikuwa wanachukua permit kama walikuwa wanajua wanakuja kubomoa nyumba. Hawange tukatisha license. Sasa tumekata license, hatuna mahali pa kwenda. Wengine wetu tunaenda kuhangaika. Hatujui tunaenda wapi.
According to the business owners, they have been paying license fees to the county government and taxes, lamenting that the demolition has left them stranded amid the high cost of living.
Shairo kuzingine tuko nazo kwa sababu vile maisha inatupeleka mbio. Kumbuka ndio tumepeleka watoto shule hii Januari. Kwa hivyo tulikuwa tumechukua pesa kwa benki, zingine tumechukua kwa watu binafsi. ndio tufanye biashara na tupeleke watoto shule. You can imagine loan yenye ulichukua Januari, unaweza kuwa umelipa miezi 2. Ndio tumechukua pesa tuanzie kuweka stocks. Hata hatujui tuanzie wapi.
The demolition has sparked outrage from a section of leaders in Bungoma County who have slammed both the county and national government for applying double standards by humiliating the same people they promised to improve their lives by creating job opportunities and supporting their hustle.
Tunashtumu mambo ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza na serikali ya kaunti ya Bungoma kwa hiki kitendo ya kinyama ya kuvunja mali ya wananchi. Is this the bottom up that we were told? Hii ndio mambo ya mahustlers, ile inaonyesha watu wadogo wanafurushwa, wanaumizwa, wanavunjwa biashara yao, wanatolewa. Yale mambo ambayo yanaendelea ni mambo si yale Mheshimiwa William Ruto na serikali yake waliahidi wa Kenya.
The exercise is said to proceed in different areas of Bungoma County after several buildings have been marked indicating they are set to be demolished. George Kayesi, Lookuptv.
So this is what Senator Danson Mungatana is telling the Azimio coalition and Raila Amolo Odinga this morning. He's saying the president is fully behind you getting that top AU job. So it only makes sense if you support him in his 2027 bid. That he's been with you throughout this journey of you wanting the top AU job. So the only dignified thing that you can do as Raila Amolo Odinga is just to support him again and at 2027. This is what one James Orongo is saying, that Raila Amolo Odinga is just going to resign immediately before the 2027 elections. They're going to come back home and do local politics. But then somebody's also asking the question, so what's going to happen in between now and 2027? Does Raila Amolo Odinga and the Azimio coalition have somebody who can come in and do the ground job, just like Raila Amolo Odinga has been doing it? Questions as to why the president really wants Raila Amolo Odinga off local politics. Is it a two-sided sword, as they call it, that he'll get the job, but then here locally, you'll be cutting his presence right here at Azimio coalition's power then to continue fighting the government to do it right? Which way is it for one Raila Amolo Odinga and his quest for that top AU job? This morning, as you can see, we're already graced with the presence of one Eric Mungai and Eric Ragalo, just waiting for Joyce to walk into the studio this morning so we can talk about why Raila Amolo Odinga's exit from local politics is heavily supported by the president. I say exit in quotes, and also one man has been speaking this weekend, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. What did he say, and what are people talking about it? Once we come back right here on The Morning Drift, the hashtag is The Morning Drift at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am Kiage Simba. Good morning.
Today we are at Precious Children's Home here at Dawn Home, and we've come to give out some food donations and have a good time with the children over some lunch.
My name is Jennifer Njeru, the director of this children's home.
Tell us a bit about the children's home. How many kids do you have here?
Okay, I started this home in 2015 with about 6 kids. These kids are orphans, but some of them are orphans, some of them are from those needy families. Yes. And then I get them through the chief, the pastors and friends who know about them. Yeah, I have 23 right now in the home. Okay, and then I have 5 in high school who are not here with us. You brought us lots of food, we didn't have food, we only had 1 bale of unga bugari, which only takes 3 days. It will be through, but the food that you brought us is a lot. We are so happy, extra happy. And may you continue coming.
So of course, remember 25% of your Lotto ticket goes towards the Lotto Foundation, helps different charities across the nation. Okay.
So thank you so much to our players. We are able to do this because of you. So we are very thankful.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the RUTO Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Lookuptv welcomes you to attend the first career fair themed The Place of Education and Technical Skills in a Digitally Disruptive Era. The event will be streamed live on our TV and digital platforms. There will be a battery of professional speakers from diverse career disciplines. Join us for an opportunity to sharpen your career choices and make informed decisions for the future at the University of Nairobi Towers on the 22nd of February as from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Don't miss out.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park, fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
If you want to have a proper outlook of the economy, then you have to speak to the walls and gears of the integral businesses in the country.
And I want to be able to make the youths and everybody coming up in Kenya know that this is here locally.
Men and women in the thick of the bust of markets rising and falling, fighting to make their business decisions stick.
I've always lived in my career that I can never be late.
You need to train by yourself. You need to practice by yourself. Then from there you can compose yourself and give kind of services like this.
On season 2 of the Captain's Arena, we seek the inside of the minds, predict the shift in the markets, get inspiration to start and make sense of it all.
Just watch what everybody else is doing and just make sure you're giving back to the society.
This is the Captain's Arena.
Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na
Mnyama Njoro. Kumbuka hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi, na ukiwa na Njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tunakuambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Lookuptv every Sunday. Unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni Ukulima ni Mali.
As the night falls, we come to life to bring you a comprehensive broadcast from the numerous events happening across our 47 counties.
When it breaks, it matters, and each story is important.
If it's Thursday, join me, Nancy Lelima, and my able panelists as we break down the law jargons and analyze the Constitution in a way only you can understand.
The news cycle never stops, neither does time. We cover each and every sector and present you factual and accurate occurrences. This is where facts win the day. Join me,
Nancy Lelima,
Ian Keitani, Tuesday, every Wednesday,
Thursday,
as from 9 p.m. on The Insight, only on Lookuptv.
Hapa panajulikana kama Napetao. Hapa tumekuja na zaidi ya chakula 500 ili kuhakikisha wakazi hapa angalau wanapokea kitu cha kutia mdomoni. Unavyoangalia hali ya anga sehemu hii, jamani, kuna ukame. Wakati wowote ambapo wewe unacheza loto, 25% ya pesa ambazo unatumia unakuja kufanikisha shughuli kama hii.
Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
All right. Welcome back to the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. There's just a lot that we're going to talk about this morning. In fact, 2 issues or 3 that are essentially gotten Kenyans talking this morning, and the political divide in the country. One man, Raila Amolo Odinga, is got the government, that is the Kenya Kwanza government, talking, and also the Azimio coalition talking over the past few days. It has been about what the eventuality of the Azimio coalition is going to be if indeed that man, Raila Amolo Odinga, clinches that top AU job. Good. And this is exactly what is going to introduce us to our conversation this morning. We're going to look at the first story that we have for you this morning before I introduce the guests who are joining us this morning. You've seen a couple of them. So let's take a look at this story about the state backing Raila Amolo Odinga for that top AU job. Once we come, we talk about it.
Days after making public his intentions to vie for the African Union Commission chairmanship with former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo by his side,
I'm inclined to accept the challenge. Should the leadership of Africa want my services, I am ready and offer myself to be of service to this continent.
The former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has received backing from the Kenya Kwanza government, vowing to rally support for the opposition chief, saying he is ripe to offer the position.
Fully support the candidature of Right Honorable Raila Odinga to be the AU Commission Chair, so that we can safeguard the interests of our country as a country, because when you advance, you want to go and lead in matters foreign policy, it benefits the country. But also to ensure that in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, Africa is able to advance its interests.
And if Odinga qualifies, the AU chairperson, who is equivalent to the CEO of the Continental Bloc, will be tasked with critical responsibilities like controlling and accounting for finances of the organ. The chairperson will enjoy a monthly salary of approximately 2 million shillings and allowance for his eligible children, and transition to the AU job could be a subtle exit from the local politics. The AUC chairperson positions has a 4-year tenure, with his mandate of the office being renewable once, and the position is categorized as a full-time diplomatic assignment. The second annual retreat for the government and senior members in the government is set to commence tomorrow at Lake Naivasha Resort. The retreat, according to Maura, is aimed at...
I said later on, we're going to see about this retreat as we come to the end of our conversation this morning. But then the big story is just about that particular clause right there. That indeed, if he takes up that job, it is a full-time job. It is a full-time job. You have an office you're supposed to wake up in the morning every day to attend to. You have a salary of 2 million shillings and your contract runs 4 years. This morning then, talking about this particular issue, we do have Joyce, Ragalo and Mungai. Good. Let me start with Ragalo. Ragalo, there's a clause there that Melvin Gatembe introduced in that particular story, that indeed Raila Amolo Odinga taking up this job is sort of like a signal for him to exiting local politics. Is it, Ragalo?
Thank you, Simba. When you see the devil took Jesus on top of a raised land, let me say a raised land because it was somewhere high.
Yes.
And showed Jesus that I am the king and these things are yours. You just have to do one thing for me, to bow. Same as the same people saying, Raila, this seat is yours so long as you'll support me for the presidency in 2027. That is the connivity of the devil. RUTO can never be trusted. I don't trust anything that comes from Kenya Kwanza. Raila could be willing to be the CEO of Africa, 54 countries, but he owes Kenya nothing, especially Kenya Kwanza, and especially Mount Kenya. He's done everything for Mount Kenya. He gave them Kibaki. They left him. He gave Mount Kenya Uhuru clear finish, second term. Assisted him very well. They know the truth. They keep saying negative things. They gave him Kisogo. So he owes Mount Kenya nothing. And if you see your enemy supporting everything that you're doing, be very careful. They are not opening their heart to support. It looks like Raila is leaving tomorrow. No. He could be leaving in January. If at all, he will be picked. What has RUTO done that has achieved anything in this country and in the continent? Where are the poor Kenyans who are promised manna from heaven? Have they achieved anything? No. Actually, KRA is now going for saloonists and the barbers. So what has he achieved? RUTO has achieved difficult life in Kenya for people to survive and to do business. What has RUTO achieved in East Africa? We have a problem with Tanzania. We have a problem with Uganda. We have a problem with Sudan. We have a problem with DRC. They are not friendly to us as they were. Are they going to vote Raila because RUTO is supporting Raila? Maybe not. It is a secret ballot. Who tells you Tanzania will vote Kenya? It is a secret ballot. If it were Magufuli who is supporting Raila, I would say Raila will win, but not RUTO. So if you tell me that Raila is going to AU and it's like certainly Raila has taken it, he might lose it.
Yes.
Why? Because the person supporting him is untrustworthy. People who are supporting him are untrustworthy. People don't want to say the truth. We went for this seat twice. We lost it twice. Remember, we went for this seat in 2008. I lost it. We went again in 2008 again. 2003, yes. I remember. Again lost it. And West Africa has taken it more than any other region. Okay? What do they do better? Maybe better organization of ECOWAS. They know how to come together to win. And ECOWAS then was one unity, and there was no war against each other. So East Africa community itself, are we able to bring people together? SADC, South Africa and Southern African countries, are they able to support us?
Yes.
SADC, we lost SADC when Dlamini something, forgetting the name.
Yeah.
So when South Africa took the seat, we had offered our candidature also. Because SADC walishikana na ECOWAS wakatushinda. So we are presenting a candidate in the name of Raila Odinga. Who is representing a candidate? It is the country that presents a candidate. It's not the candidate who will present himself. But who is the CEO of the country? Is he trustworthy by other countries? No. So is Raila going to win? Maybe not. Why? UDA has won nothing in this country up to now. So if he were to win, you show the candidature of winning, even from the people supporting you, you will win.
Yes.
Raila may not win. I'm sorry to use this and to say this. And I'm telling you another thing. Raila will be with us in 2027. Raila is going nowhere. So people are thinking that Raila will not be around in 2027 because some of them are happy Raila is leaving because now they can do what they want in this country. Eric Ragalo is alive. If Raila goes, I'm here. Can't I call maandamano? I can. Can't I correct the country? I can. Can't I correct the government? I can. So if Raila is leaving, another Raila is born, is seated here. If again Raila is leaving, Raila himself, Baba, Wonya game, will not go. He is here. And Raila will be with us in 2027 to decide how the country will move. So people who have Raila phobia, that Raila is leaving because the phobia is born in them.
Yes.
People like Akina Eric, they were born fearing Raila. Tell you the truth. They will never vote Raila because they were told by their great-grandfathers to hate on someone, their fathers to hate on someone, and that is what Mount Kenya is for you. They hate someone without knowing why they hate on someone. Ask someone, what has Raila done for you? He can't even tell you, but he just hates the person. So these people who hate the person would really be happy the person to leave. And I'm honestly saying, Raila is not leaving.
Doesn't.
Raila is with us.
Yes.
2027, he will decide if he will run. If he will not run, he will decide who will give us to run. And whatever Baba says goes. We are not the people who go like Mount Kenya who refuse to follow their leader. If Raila says we go Kalonzo, we'll go Kalonzo. If Raila says we go Wajakoya, Baba is right. If Baba says left, we will go left.
Pretty much. Bragalo, I'll be coming back to you on,
we
that,
are a
particular,
community.
on that particular sentiment for it will be here in 2027. Because we do know it's a 4-year tenure. There's something that James Orengo said this week, and I'll be coming back to you. We have that clip this morning. I'm going to play it for you. Joyce, here's the thing. You know, that's the government spokesperson that we just saw say that we, as a government, support one Raila Amolo Odinga for that top seat. That is the AU. Do you find it peculiar that the government would call on a presser and say that we support the opposition leader for that top job? Is it strange in some way? And if it is, why?
Thank you. I think it's a double speak from the part of the government because Raila is not new in politics. He was born way back when some of us were still back in our kindergartens. And he have mapped his way politically. He does not need the blessing of anybody whatsoever.
Yes.
He has his image, he has his political image, political strategy, political novel, political Bible. Now, this hang-us-on that comes on and says that the government will support. It needs to be taken with tips. Because today in Naivasha, the UDA group has gone to strategies on how to push for his candidature.
Yes.
The president of this Republic of Kenya, he's not, and though his party is UDA, he's a person of national image. For him now for the government spokesman to come up and say that the government is in tandem with Africa in terms of supporting Baba. And on one hand today, we have the UDA party meeting. Then that's double speak to me. If you want to win, if you want this seat literally to be won by none other than our political mentor, Raila, it is about the Kenyan agenda, not a party agenda. It's about the religious agenda, not the Kenya Kwanza group. It's not about Sylvester Osoro. It's not about Malala yesterday saying that yes, Malala is supporting. Because it's not the vote of the UDA that will be used to vet Raila Amolo Odinga. The vetting group.
Yes, Mugai, continue. Yes.
The vetting group will base, amongst others, international and local statesmanship of the candidate himself.
When the government says that we support Raila Amolo Odinga, I mean, it's an individual, he's a Kenyan. Why wouldn't the government step out and say, well, we have our own going for this top seat, so we throw our weight behind it? Why not?
I don't find a problem with the government. That's government statement, because that's the position. But then we have a problem with today's meeting. Then there was no need of having a new UDA meeting today to discuss a candidature of Raila Amolo Odinga. What perhaps the president's advisor should have done today was call a national dialogue and discuss about the candidature of a Kenyan. Let us even remove the name of Raila. Let us go for a candidature of a Kenyan. And that Kenyan has a name. So it was about the President RUTO calling groups, vested groups that have personal, political, economical network in Africa. My brother Eric has said it. It's not about the East African community. It's not about the president of this Republic of Kenya have created many battles in the East African community. It's about our candidate. And if President RUTO will front Raila as a candidate, we are doomed. If it does, between now and the vetting time, when the group will sit to vet, we need now to do another list strategy. Because if Kenya Kwanza is going to read, that brigade, that ambassadorial position of going now to scout for oppositions, candidate supporters, they are going to lose. Why? Charity begins at home. Suruhu will stand and say, I'm not happy with my neighbor. Kaguta Museveni will stand up and say, I'm uncomfortable with my neighbor. DRC the other day, we sent our troops to go and manage peace in DRC. They were recalled. The opposition leader of DRC was hosted the following day in Kenya. Unfortunately, they lost. So what do you think if the position, the slots on DRC, if they are put, if they ask, can they go and vote? I do not want to say the position of the DRC. So it's about the issue of now, other Kenyans who have stronger networks other than the president of this Republic of Kenya, whether politically, spiritually, economically, to come up and assist Baba. It's not about the president of this Republic of Kenya. Because he has created a lot of enemies. Are we communicating?
Just I'll be coming back to you, because that's where the conversation starts by there. Ragali, you might be supporting, but I will tell you what your members of parliament are also saying on this particular issue shortly after this. Hey, Mr. Mugai.
The bench is hot.
Here's the thing. Well, yeah, Ragali, just hold on. You're going to see how the defense begins this morning.
For the first time, I might be the only one supporting. You know, I don't see eye to eye with Raila, but I might be the only one supporting him on this bench. But first, let me welcome the viewer this morning. The issue is so animated. We are almost beating the viewer. Karibu asubuhi. You know, we did not get a chance to say hi to the viewer. We just jumped right into the debate. You know, Simba, when you're a hammer, you think every problem is a nail, and therefore every opportunity you get, you go hammering. But sometimes it's important to sit back as a country and ask ourselves what is good for us. And you know, for the first time, I was actually an ardent supporter of Uhuru Kenyatta to get the AUC chair seat. But Baba being Baba ran away with it and called a press briefing and announced that he was actually going for it, which in my opinion is a good thing. Now there is a bit of confusion because it's important also for the viewer to understand. There is a difference between the African Union Commission chairman and the African Union chairman, because most people are unable to understand, to differentiate between the two. And it is to say that because unless Kenyans understand what the position is, then we'll keep getting into this confusion of sometimes bashing, Kenyans bashing something based on political divide. Yes. And the African Union Commission is the Secretariat of the African Union. And this is a job that requires day-to-day running. In fact, should Raila be confirmed, and luckily RUTO has not been known to lose elections. So when Raila is confirmed, by the way, he's a man with a track record of not losing an election. You remember last time Uhuru fronted Amina Mohammed and abandoned her halfway through the journey and she lost the seat. But it is to say that there are factors that favor Raila and there are factors that work against him in his candidature. And I must say that for the factors that favor Raila, one is that for you to be a candidate, a member state must front you. Yes. And therefore, it is not peculiar when Kenya stands to say, when Amani National Congress stands up to say we support Raila. UDA issued a statement a week ago and said they also support Raila. Members of parliament have gone ahead to endorse Raila. Yes. Why would UDA issue a statement? It's okay to issue. They are supporting a countryman, okay? There are other institutions, of course, that have led credence to supporting Raila's candidature, including the government spokesman himself, who speaks for and on behalf of government. And therefore, that is the first milestone in terms of Raila applying for the seat. The fact that a member state is actually willing to front him to become a candidate. Number two, it's important to see that Raila has a track record when it comes to the African Union. Many people might not know, but the first mission for Raila Odinga was around, I think, in 2002 in Ivory Coast, when Gabo or something, Gabo and Utara, they were contesting over a disputed election.
Not disputed, Gabo stole election.
Yes, Gabo stole, whichever the language, doesn't matter, but there was a dispute. And so the African Union sent Honorable Raila Odinga to Ivory Coast to go and mediate. In fact, one of the private jets was heavily funded by the US government. Unfortunately, when Raila reached there, Gagbo said that Raila was siding with the side of Utara, and therefore Raila had to be recalled back home. But we know how it went, and Utara finally got the seat. So in terms of track record, he has a track record with the African Union. And secondly, he has been a candidate he has been a representative for infrastructure, which was recalled by government the other day. The government asked Faki to recall his position the other day. Yes. And so in terms of track record, the truth is Raila has the track record. He's been a prime minister. Most of the people that have been in the AUC chair have been either prime ministers or presidents. And so in terms of the portfolio and the structure, he really fits the bill. Maybe lastly is to say that what might also work largely in Raila's favor is that the AUC chair is largely rotational. And the reality is Faki, who is outgoing right now, is largely seen to come from North Africa. South Africa has also produced a candidate in the name of Madam Zuma, who, by the way, as Ragala was intimating, did not contest a second term to go and seek presidency in South Africa. She ended up losing both. So if Raila were to go and come back to the country precedence is already set in terms of how that might turn out. So there is already an African precedence in terms of you going and coming back and how that works. And also, West Africa has also produced a candidate, and therefore it is time for East Africa to produce a candidate. There are rumors which have not been confirmed that Jakaya Kikwete of Tanzania might be running for the same seat. The former vice president of Uganda is also running and gunning for the same seat. Now, there are factors that work against Raila, which we will discuss today, of course, in that context. And we will weigh whether the factors that support Raila to go for the seat and the factors that work against him, which one outweighs the other, and whether. But I must say in conclusion that let us not be simplistic in our way of thinking.
Ragalo, this is to you, by the way.
Yes, that when we front a candidate as a Kenyan, as a country, let us not be simplistic and embroil. You see, there are people who have benefited from Raila's continued losses in the elections. And they cannot imagine that Raila can leave them as orphans. Now, these are the people crying and wailing on top of the roofs. These are people we must not listen to. I must dissuade the viewers this morning from listening to naysayers, you know, people who behave like, have you ever had a leaking roof? And do you know how disturbing a leaking roof is when water is always dripping when you're sleeping? Now, those are the naysayers working against Raila's candidature.
I'm going to leave it there. Bagalo, just before then we get into the next part of our conversation, that we have to see this job as a full-time job. Should Raila Amolo Odinga get it? Now, on Saturday, we ran a story here at Lookuptv on what majority of Kenyan leaders and Kenyan citizens at large thought about that particular bid for Raila Amolo Odinga for that top job. Let's take a listen. Once we come in then, Joyce and Ragalo have to prove here right now, is there some sort of betrayal to the Azimio coalition leaders? Should Raila Amolo Odinga take this job? Because if by any other thing, when you look at that JD of that AUC chair job, it is full-time. You have to work, not just in Kenya, you are all over. Let's take a look at that. Once we come back, tackle that next subject.
Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, fellow Kenyans, I have invited you to a moment of national introspection that we, the UDA party, is pleased to appreciate the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga's decision to seek the chairmanship of the African Union Commission. The Right Honorable Raila Odinga is undoubtedly an African luminary of unmatched capability. We join many across the continent in restating that Honorable Odinga deserves the AU Commission chairmanship, given his distinguished accolades and contribution to the socio-political landscape of the East Africa region and the continent as a whole. As a veteran politician, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga will immensely contribute to the development and unity of the African Union. He has vast...
There can be no better person to take the chairmanship of the African Union other than Raila Amolo Odinga. And as a coalition, and as a party, specifically the ruling party, UDA, we have decided to put our foot down and support Raila Odinga from the sky, on the land, in the sea, whichever place and whatever avenue that we may be having. We will put our resources to support the candidature of Raila.
Let's do this. That this particular issue it's two-sided. And Mungai, once we come on air, hopefully you take the same sentiments.
Which sentiments are you talking about? I don't understand this.
Here's the reality. That is the UDA party, Ragalo, that is saying there is nobody who's more qualified for that particular position than one Raila Amolo Odinga. That's the UDA party that decided to call that particular presser. Ragalo, why would a party call for a presser? And then later on, we see also the government spokesperson also call for presser to support one Raila Amolo Odinga.
There is a difference between a party and a government.
Is there?
Yeah, a party is a political union. But a government is a structure. So if you say a party, I'm a member of a government, but I'm not a member of a party. So I am in the system of Kenya. I'm a member of the government that is there today, yes. But I'm not a member of UDA. So if the government says they are supporting, now that's what I'll talk about because I'm a member of the government. But if the CEO of UDA says he's supporting, that is him and his feelings. And I want to also categorically tell the CEO that Kakamega governor will be none other than the bullfighter. So he will never be the governor there. So I'm even preparing him early that he stays as a CEO.
In this context,
he stays as a CEO.
In this context, for supporting people for top jobs. Eh?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we are supporting people on top jobs, so the next governor of Kakamega, and actually the bullfighter will leave UDA anyway. He will join Azimio and Baba. For him to win Kakamega, you wait and see. You wait and see.
Direct message to him. Yeah.
That is direct message. So, kijana kaempole. But about him and his party supporting Raila, when you want to kill a chicken, I'll give you a scenario of a leader known very well in the world. A leader who took a chicken and removed its manyoya. Stuck naked without manyoya. Then after that, the chicken was bleeding and really, feverish and everything, and crying of pain. But then he took maize and started giving the chicken again. The chicken forgot it was in pain and started eating maize. This is a setup to Azimio people. People should not take the bait. The same people who hurt you, the same people who use crude method of taking a government. To an extent today, we are laughed at internationally by other countries. Tanzania can say, angalia wenzetu wa hapa, hawana hata kitu. Tanzanians nowadays even make songs on Kenya. Have you seen the song? Yes, one of the best musicians in Tanzania have done a song, a bongo song against Kenya. Vile sisi kutunajifanya. It has come to a point we are laughing stock around. And countries would come, people would come to stay in Kenya because they saw Kenya as one, the Britain of Africa, of East Africa, sorry. But, other than that, now what has happened? The same government now, after hurting you, yes, they're now throwing maize at you. So they want you to swallow maize and forget the pains you've gone through. I, Eric Ragalo Otieno, can never forget. And I can never support what Kenya Kwanza are supporting. They are here taking Raila to the noose. They are going to hang him alive. He's coming back here cold. I'm telling you. Raila has his own. Yes. They may put the way they want to put. Me, I'm putting the way I want to put. Yeah. A country must present their candidate, is it? So the question, if the country want to present their candidate, it is the government. Let the government present their candidate.
Not a party.
Not a party.
So do you have a problem?
So if a candidate is presented by the government, okay, the government will leave the other parties to decide who they are going to support. Yes. But if the UDA now, government, will present a candidate in the name of Raila Odinga, the UDA government that is not needed and wanted in Congo, the UDA government is not needed and wanted in Tanzania. Charity begins at home. Where is home? Home is East African community. Yes. We became their big boss. We bullied them. We've been bullying these people around us. Are they going to support us? If at all Tanzania brings Kikwete, we will lose to Kikwete. If at all Tanzania brings, Uganda brings a candidate, we could lose to a candidate. I remember Central African Republic, countries around Central Africa, they have not also brought their candidate. They don't have. Or they have, we don't know. If Central Africa bring a candidate, we could have a compromise candidate from Central Africa against us. Bro, it's not about the best candidate here. The best candidate can be Raila, tell you the truth, because Raila is known worldwide, is known all of Africa. He's revered and he's given respect by many people. But who is presenting the good ugali on the table? I want you to ask
do you fault the government for coming out to support Raila Amolo Odinga? Because they had to give him the voice behind it.
Yeah, but because now it's becoming political, I don't support it.
Yes.
When UDA comes out and gives statements, yes. Kenya Kwanza, you see, have you seen ODM talk?
No.
Have you seen Wiper talk?
No.
Have you seen Wajakoya's party talk?
A press briefing actually.
It was someone speaking, not a presser like this one. Have you seen Wajakoya talk? Why is this other part talking too much? These guys are going to hang Raila. And I'm telling you, they don't support Raila. I wish people can see this.
Ragalo, how do you not support somebody by supporting them? You as a government. I mean, they've come out.
This is politics, bro. You can see politics here. They want Raila to lose, then they come back saying, at you unaona huyu anapotezanga tu, tulimpeleka tukamlipia ndege tukalipa watu tukampeleka awini kiti alishindiwa mpaka huko AU. You know.
Yes, Bagalo. The logic, please explain for us the logic. Because you come from this point where you're saying that, well, the way it is currently, RUTO doesn't have a good rap when it comes to the EAC region, even outside the country. Good. Then why would he want that to be visible then? I mean,
I'll give you why RUTO doesn't have a good rap.
Yeah. But
when other countries see RUTO, they see who? They see America.
That's it. But
they see another blue eye of the West.
Bagalo, the question.
Let me ask you a very simple question. Who is the president of Burkina Faso?
What's the name of the
I don't know. But you know there is someone there. Yes. Who is the president of Mali? Will they support Raila? They will see Raila as being brought by them. I'm telling you these things.
But then why
the politics played is international. It's not local. And when it becomes international, we will lose.
Ragalo, fine. Please make this clear. That's the same question that Mugai was wondering about. Isn't it? We're saying that RUTO doesn't have a good rap internationally. Fine. That this Pan-African...
he's not a Pan-African. Don't use it. Don't even use it. It's too big for him.
Fine.
He can never be Nyerere, my friend.
It's like you're saying now then, that he would want to see how big of a failure he is then by supporting Raila Amolo Odinga. Why would not keep quiet if you know very well that I don't have proper support when it comes to...
why do I keep quiet? And I'm here to tell Kenyans the truth. No, that we will lose because of RUTO. But we will not lose because it is Raila. Because, and I will tell you, Raila has never lost an election from 2007. We've lost because of other issues, international, and because of the courts. So we will lose because of RUTO.
Why would RUTO want to fail then by supporting Raila Amolo Odinga?
To make Raila look bad. It's not RUTO who will lose. It is Raila to deflate him further and to hurt him further.
Does that make logic?
It does. In politics, it does. Politics, it does. In politics, it makes a lot of tumemgonga tena.
It has a lot of history. It has a lot of history.
Joyce, hold on. The question that I want you guys to make clear is this. I mean, if he's aware that majority of people are sort of questioning his political strategies, especially when it comes to his relations with countries outside the Kenyan border, why would he want to support Raila Amolo Odinga just to fail?
To hurt him.
Do not even go there. Do not even go there.
What is the next presser they're going to make?
Do not even go there, Siba.
What is the next presser they're going to make?
Do not even go there.
Do
not even go there, Siba. Just last month, in the month of January alone,
yes,
Raila himself has seen that he cannot trust RUTO. Let us bring the ball back home. Let us even not go back now to the international community. He brought in the issue of the NADCO report. What happened? Was the NADCO report discussed in Parliament? What happened with the constitution of the IBC, the selection committee? They were told us to go back to the drawing board. President RUTO will engage Raila on a marathon race. Just on the tip while you're just about to finish, he will deflate the tire. He did it in the month of January. So even this one, he's not new in it. He will push him until the end of the vetting session. Then all of a sudden, he will drop the ball. He has done it. He has done it. Raila Amolo Odinga, in the month of January, President Ruto prayed cards on you. Kindly be on the notice that, although, of course, some of us who are orphans will cry that we can see where you are falling, yes, you will flop badly. Yes. Because President Ruto cannot be trusted in capital letters. Full stop. So let us not even discuss about the international blessings. Let us start where we have the blessings at home. Does yes, President Ruto have the best interest of Raila Amolo Odinga at heart? The answer is no. What is looking into Simba?
Is it not very hard, Joyce? Is it not very hard for you to know the true intention of one Dr. President William Ruto? By know. Just the government saying we support one.
This is it. Because it is in the black and white, that is in the record, that in the month of January alone, he brought him down. Several even last year. What were some of the memorandums that the government had written with the opposition? Were they honored? The answer is no. So, Raila Amolo Odinga, you are not seeing it, and some of us are seeing it, that this guy is out to humiliate you internationally.
That's fine.
1 minute, one minute, Simba. He wants to push the candidature of Raila Amolo Odinga and show everybody, every Tom, Dick and Harry, that the government is for you.
Yes.
You know, he's already like a pig in the mud. So he's looking for another partner to be in the mud with himself. Strategically, Simba. It's only Baba who can call for a holiday, for a local holiday, even when the same is not gazetted. So President Ruto wants to make his ruling this year, this month, when he's busy campaigning for Baba. So that now all these bills that have been taken to court, that need to be forced through the rules of Wajiko, can be actualized. And when we near the end of the vetting period, take this to the bank. President Ruto will deflate Baba. One message to Baba: do not take the words of Raila.
Just before I cross over to Mungai. Mungai, hopefully you're taking a lot of notes. I don't know, you're sitting quite relaxed. Why you seem relaxed?
I'm okay.
I don't know why. This is not animating you.
I'm okay.
Here's the thing. Question is this: why would support just not be support, Joyce? I mean, anybody listening to you will say, I don't read any foul in that. I mean, the president has said that we, as a country, support one Raila Amolo Odinga for that job. That support is just what it means. It's just support. We supported him, his rivalry, as a Kenyan. Why would you read any other thing, since this is not local politics?
It is local politics.
Because historically he has been known of swearing his words from the word go. Kenyans, even if you open your channels today now for your viewers now to respond, they'll tell you that all the promises by His Excellency, President Ruto, have not been actualized. So how do you trust even one promise if 100 promises have not been dealt with? You know, you need the goodwill of the Kenyans, and the goodwill of the Kenyans have been watered down. So Raila Amolo Odinga is a Kenyan, just like any other ordinary Wajiko. And he needs to read this. He rushed by calling the former Nigerian boss to come and support him here. I think that was a rush on him. He should have first gone ground for the local blessings, so that even the local blessings can tell him, my brother, there's a trap here.
Doesn't.
And I think even the former president have also realized that there's a setup somewhere. At times, it's not always good to jump when your friends tell you to jump. Don't jump. When they tell you to jump, at times it's good to think, do I need to jump? No, I don't need this. For this one, I don't need to jump.
Does it.
But for President Ruto to support Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, it's wrong. It's a wrong move.
That's it. Mr. Mungai, here's the thing. But just for the quality of purposes of our conversation this morning, Sheila, if you can, please just take us to the opening sentiment of one government spokesperson yesterday, when it was actually a strange presser, and I will tell you that because we're not accustomed to the government speaking to Kenyans on Sundays unless on emergency basis. Somebody said that the last time we saw this happen was back in the COVID-19 era, where we did see a presser on Sundays, and then took it again back to that time when the president had said end to Mandamano, when they said now we want to support Raila Amolo Odinga in a dialogue setup. That it was a bit strange that this was so pressing to the government that they had to convene a presser on a Sunday. We're going to start from there. So Sheila, if you can just take us to the opening statement for 1 more, so that then Mgai can tell us, is that support over reading something that we can't see to our ears right here on the monitor? Let's take a look.
Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has received backing from the Kenya Kwanza government, vowing to rally support for the opposition chief, saying he is ripe to offer the position.
Fully support the candidature of President Right Honorable Raila Odinga to be the AU Commission Chair, so that we can safeguard the interests of our country as a country, because when you advance, you want to go and lead in matters of foreign policy, it benefits the country. But also to ensure that in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, Africa is able to advance its interests.
Mungai, listen, to anybody listening, it's quite clear that we are supporting one Raila Odinga to safeguard our interests as a country, and also to promote the entire narrative for Pan-Africanism, that we as Africans support the African agenda. So Raila Odinga is an African, why not have him ascend to that top spot? Support 100%?
I must say that I agree with the government spokesman, and I agree with the government.
Yes.
Including its affiliate arms.
Mungai, I'm so sorry to start. That is the wrong basis to start from that questioning point. Why that press on a Sunday?
A presser can be done on any day, and the beauty about doing a presser on Sunday is that it's a holiday. It's a day when most Kenyans have pure intentions. And that is why the government spokesman made
what
that.
What about those who don't go to church on Sunday? Are you locking out Muslims out of it?
No, that is why, because, you know, even when we were growing up, we could not abuse people on Sunday.
Yeah.
You could not do misdemeanors on Sunday.
You could not lie on Sunday.
You could not lie on Sunday. and so this is the government spokesman making the declaration on a Sunday is figuratively an extension of the pureness of heart. But to answer the naysayers that say that William is fronting Raila for him to fail and to embarrass him in the forthcoming general elections, we must also always look to see the track record of the man William. Number one, William has never lost an election locally. Never lost one. Number two, if there is a person that sticks closer than a brother, it's William. Remember, in 2002, is it 2002, when was Uhuru running against Kibaki?
2002. Yeah.
It was 2002.
Yes.
The only person that stuck with Uhuru at that time was William RUTO. He went ahead to support Uhuru's Kenyatta candidature until Uhuru became president. And what did Uhuru do? When Uhuru was leaving, all hell broke loose and he abandoned William. 2007, William stood with Raila Odinga. To an extent, he delivered the last man vote of his basket to Raila Odinga. When William RUTO was appointed a cabinet secretary, the first casualty was William RUTO, courtesy of Raila Odinga firing him on baseless allegations. Baseless. The key word is baseless. That tells you that William as a man is a person who honors his word. Now, I can tell you for a fact that William RUTO has no interest in Raila losing that candidature at the AU. Why? Because if you observed keenly, William RUTO, the president, is very keen on how he is viewed internationally. Forget about the naysayers and peddlers of liars that William RUTO is a darling of the West. Anyone can be a darling of anyone. The fact that some people embrace you and others are slow to embrace you does not make you a bad person.
Yes.
If anything, I told you, in 2002, it is the African Union together with Americans who sponsored Raila to go to Ivory Coast and mediate against Gbagbo and Ouattara. So being loved by the West or being loved by whoever else is neither here nor there. It just speaks to allegiance in terms of foreign policy. But let us not restrict our minds just to the local politics, because I am now lending credence to the fact that your West your worst enemies are usually your friends in terms of progress. Because there are people who have been so beholden to Baba locally, they cannot fathom a Baba rising internationally. Because I can tell you for a fact, a majority of the members of parliament in Nyanza, they don't have to work for the people. They just have to support Baba. And they cannot fathom a situation where Baba might leave and they might not have any cover. And therefore, Baba must loosen the shackles that behold him to Nyanza region, and his supporters must realize that Baba is an international icon. While we meddle on foolish and baseless politics locally, let us look at what works for Baba internationally. And I told you here, West Africa has produced a candidate at the AUC who has won. That was the former Mali president, Alpha Konare. Okay? Central Africa has produced Jean Ping, who was the president of Gabon. Yes, South Africa have produced Nkosazana Zuma to become the one I told you left, yes, to go and contest for presidency in South Africa and lost. And that is a mistake Baba should not follow. Once William Ruto makes him the president of AUC, which will happen. Now, let me tell you something. Wait.
Let him summarize. Yes.
Wait. There is something else that works in Baba's favor.
Yes.
Kenyans might not be aware that last week at the General Assembly of the African Union, yes, Kenya ran for presidency of the African Union. But last minute, President William Ruto stepped down for the president of the island of Comoros, which is an East African state. Okay? Yes. In fact, in his opening remarks, what is his name? His Excellency Azali, in his remarks when he became the chair, he went ahead to congratulate his brother William on his Pan-Africanism. You see, Pan-Africanism, the same thing that we want to promote Baba with Pan-Africanism. And therefore it tells you, even as we go towards this race, yes, we have already an ally in the presidency, we have an ally. The fact that we've stepped down for the president of Comoros, we already have an ally. Now, Baba himself has several allies. You know, sometimes people want to chain Baba to local Nyanza politics, and I'm telling them, I don't support Baba myself politically here, but I am wise enough to see a man. No, because I am wise enough. I am wise enough.
That's the same question that I wanted to ask you. Your tune about Baba has completely changed.
No,
from what we're talking about.
Look, I am not a hypocrite. No. I am not a hypocrite. I have said on this show, I don't support Baba on local politics, but I am wise enough to know when the train has left the station and to know that this is a man we've chained with locally here, making him eat tear gas, while this is a man destined for international greatness.
Munga, you listen to yourself.
No, let me tell you.
Hold on. But you still have that time. Munga, you still have that time. Wait a minute. That is the wrong one here locally. Yes. That's what you are saying.
But it is possible. When Obama came here as a senator,
yes,
we did not give him the credence that he deserved. We did not give him the stature that he deserved.
That's when he went,
wait, I'm just saying, there is a difference.
Yes.
There is a difference between local bickering. There is a difference between because what we are doing here is bickering locally.
Yeah.
There is a difference between that and the people who want to change the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga to Nyanza politics, while I, Mungai, who does not support him, have the wisdom. You know, in my mother tongue, we say, when a man is seated on a stool, he can see further than young men who are on top of a tree. When I'm seated on my stool,
yes,
I can see that Baba is a man destined for international greatness. Why do we want to change him locally? I'll tell you.
Is it possible you can support Raila Amolo Odinga for 2027?
No, it's not possible.
How is
locally it's not possible.
Hold on.
That's why I'm telling you I'm not a hypocrite. That's why I'm telling you. Wait, let me finish my point.
Please, you're going to clear. By the way, you're going to clear. How is it not possible that you can support him for local politics? But the same one you're saying is not right here locally is the right one for Africa.
Because sometimes what is good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander.
But
we must create a distinction. We must create a distinction.
That's it.
The man, when it comes to local politics, I have told you, and I'm clear, and I'm not a hypocrite, and I repeat, I do not support him.
How is it?
But I am saying I am wise enough. I am wise enough to know when the train has left the station.
Then how is it possible that when Maura says that he's going to take our country's interest to AU, there you say yes, I want to support him?
Because the man has international credence. The man is internationally, remember, that's why I'm saying, let us not change Raila to Nyanza. Raila has been a prime minister for heaven's sake. This AU commission chair, the precedence has been set before on fellow prime ministers and presidents who've gone ahead to sit on that particular chair. So let us not change, and I was explaining here.
Yes.
While else we change Raila to local politics, Raila will find solace internationally. Remember, Cyril Ramaphosa, no, let me explain and I wind up. I give it to Ragalo.
Yes.
Cyril Ramaphosa is a personal friend to Raila Amolo Odinga. You know that many times, even when it comes to treatment, Raila's children have often gone to South Africa. We have a friend there in South Africa, okay? Secondly, there are opposition leaders that have made it to power who might find a hearing in Raila Odinga. One of them is Hakainde Hichilema of Zambia. That man was mistreated by Edgar Lungu. He's an opposition leader who sat on the throne. He knows what it takes to be an opposition leader in Africa. We have a friend in that. We have a friend in Shikedi. Even when we keep on complaining here, you saw William was invited to go to DRC.
By who?
No, by Shikedi himself. By Shikedi himself. You want to say William broke. Lastly, we also have a friend in Utara who Raila was able to go and negotiate for and on behalf of in Ivory Coast. My friends, I want to face this camera. I want to face this camera and tell the people of Kenya, specifically the people of Nyanza and the supporters of Raila Amolo Odinga, do not be misled by your jealous MPs, by jealous naysayers, like some of them who I'll not mention, seated with me on the set. Do not listen to them. Support Baba to go international.
That's it. Bagalo, here's the thing, by the way, coming back. And I'm going to give you the right to respond. Joyce and Bagalo, you have all the time you're going to have to respond to whatever Mr. Mungai is saying. But guess what? The next particular video, by the way, Sheila, if you're ready then, with the video for Kiambu Senator Karungo Wadhanga, who's going to introduce the next part of our conversation, essentially. One man has come up in this, that if indeed you were truthful about presenting a man with proper credentials then for that particular job, they would have said, well, bring in President Uhuru Kenyatta and support him. That yesterday would have been the proper time for the government to come in and say that we do not support Raila Amolo Odinga. He's a man who's heavily hitting us, a man who you've blamed for your misgivings in this country. So let's support one President Uhuru Kenyatta for that particular top job. Once we come back then, we're going to listen into that because it introduces the next part of our conversation. Again, one, President Uhuru Kenyatta is back again. Guess what? That Mount Kenya region that was sort of quiet is again talking because Uhuru Kenyatta appeared at a funeral and he spoke. What he spoke about has also got people talking. Once we come back then, the question is going to be, if Raila leaves, does it weaken the opposition today as we currently know of it? Right here on The Morning Drift. My name is Simba Charles Kiage. We come back, we continue with this conversation.
Kiangazi imedhiri sana katika area hii yetu ya Laikipia. Mara mingi sana katika Laikipia kuna wafugaji na kuna wakulima. Hakuna yule ambaye amesaidika, hata wakulima pia wajasaidika na wafugaji pia wajasaidika. Lakini kwa siku ya leo tunasema kwamba RUTO Foundation imetusaidia sana kwa sababu inalisha jamii ambaye hawana nguvu ya kupata lishe mahali moja au nyingine.
Tumekuwa tunalala hoi. Ukweli kabisa, mimi siamini. Hata mtu mwingine jinsi tumeleta hapo usiku, alikuwa amesimia. Alikuwa na siku 3 hajaumwa kitu. Kwa hivyo tunashukuru sana RUTO. Leo watoto wengi ameshiba.
Nashukuru Mungu kwa RUTO Foundation siku ya leo. Maana wamekuja at least manyumba 100 leo na 10 itaweza kunuka kitunguu jioni ya leo. Tulikuwa na njaa, si mchezo, ilikuwa na njaa, si ya ile ya kusema iko njaa.
Ya kwanza tumekuwa na watoto ambao wameshikwa na hata watu wazima na utapia mlo, na pia tukiangalia hii ni area ambayo imejaa watu ambao wana rely na mifugo, na mifugo mingi imeweza kuisha kwa sababu ya kiangazi, na tunashukuru sana the RUTO Foundation kwa msaada wao ambao wameweza. Asanteni sana.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the RUTO Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Tere, mambo ni mawili, kufikisha, kumwaga na kurudi. Kulala ni mwaka mpya.
Bua muka we mse. Nini mbaya? Wewe kwani wani vile dereva anaendesha gari vibaya, lazima tususe. Anaendesha gari na kwa simu the whole time, hata angalia barabara. Tusimame. Wewe dereva wewe, mwaka iliyopita peke yake watu zaidi ya 3,000 walipoteza maisha yao barabarani kwa sababu ya tabia kama hizo. Hautatuangamiza tukiona. Naomba msamaha, nitampeleka vizuri. Si wameomba msamaha. Sasa tuende tusafiri kwa mwendo wa aste.
Dere Smart hufikisha abiria salama. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
Are you a junior secondary school, a college, a TVET institution or a university and you want to advertise your intake? Book now and advertise with us today on both Lookuptv and all our digital platforms. Call us today or email us on sales@lookuptv.co.ke.
In Mount Kenya, but where all of us, those who speak this language, come from. Ningetaka kukuomba kitu moja, sababu hapa tumeambiwa aliyekuwa rais wa hapo mbeleni Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, ambaye mimi ni seneta wake, alikuwa hapa. Mimi nakuomba kama uniting factor, tuite kama viongozi wa Mount Kenya na utuitie Uhuru Kenyatta, ndio tuketi chini tuongee tukiendelea mbele. Sababu mimi ndiye seneta wake, labda heka kwa siati yeti ya hitha na noeda kujira hali ya kari kana atea kama tulikubali kanini kega na unajua vile alitupeleka mbio, hata wao viongozi wote tuwalete pamoja. Na unajua Mheshimiwa Rais, Deputy President, nimesikia kuna hii chairman wa AU na nasikia labda nchi sijui inapigia debe aliyekuwa anawania kiti cha urais Raila Odinga. Mimi nikafikiria maneno jana, nikaona yani mnataka tupatie huyu na Uhuru wetu wako hapa. Mimi nimefikisha hapa.
Just a proper introduction into the next part of our conversation this morning. But just before we get there then, Rakalo, two things that you have to answer now for any other person who's listening to you. That top job for AU, it's a full-time employment for one Raila Amolo Odinga. He's got his JD, he has got duties that he has to perform. That essentially means that locally then, his presence, Ragalo, will not be felt that heavily. Number two, there is the presence of one man, Olusegun Obasanjo, in this particular conversation. He's been very fast to come in and support one Raila Amolo Odinga's bid in this particular push for that job. And there was a man who was also present in those negotiations at the Bomas of Kenya that gave us the NATCO report. Any link to that, Ragalo?
Thank you. Before I come to your two good questions, the local presence of Baba will remain. When Baba went to America for 3 months for sabbatical leave, the hunger of Raila was too much. And my friend Morocco had to call Baba when you were away. And he said it in Uhuru Park. And remember, by that time, they had said, we are not entering Uhuru Park.
This time it's 4
and
years.
They had cordoned Uhuru Park with anything they could use.
If it gets it, it's 4 years this time around.
And tulijaza Uhuru Park mpaka hata hewa ulikuwa unatafuta kupumua. Raila will not go for 4 years. No. 2027 politics, Raila will be with us. He will be with us.
Is he going to resign if he gets the position?
RUTO will not make what he's doing. We are going to have our Raila in 2027.
Bagalo, what are you saying? Is he going to resign?
If Raila,
if he gets that
if
particular
Raila
job.
has it, and 2027 arrives,
yes,
it will be 2 years in his term, is it?
Does it?
Why not leave it? Is home not important than abroad? Why do people come back from America and put a house in Kenya and say, I'm not gonna go back, I'm home now?
Is two ways, and I'm sorry for coming in, 2 ways. If he doesn't leave it, is this an indication that Raila Amolo Odinga is passing the mantle to somebody else in the azimio coalition? Is he advised to take this job? No,
if Raila will not be there in 2027 because of this job,
yes,
I, Eric Ragalo, will vote Kalonzo Musyoka. RUTO is never gonna be a person to think about. He may be thinking that assisting Raila, if he's really assisting Raila and not taking him to the noose, let me put it in quotes, RUTO is assisting Raila and Raila has won.
Yes.
At now Nyanza will support Raila Luo Nyanza. I, Eric Ragalo, vote RUTO. I'll be on electroencephalogram, being shocked in the head to return my memory. It can never happen.
Does it weaken the opposition's campaign if Raila Amolo Odinga is not actively involved?
It will not weaken. It will strengthen. Kalonzo will get all the votes. It may weaken when Raila is there if they separate votes, if everyone will run. But if he is not there because now we are giving a scenario he's not there, then Kalonzo will get all the votes. All, my friend, all. Like if Raila is not there, now where do you think? Now who is remaining to think? Why do you even want to stress yourself thinking? It's already a done deal, my friend. Why are you thinking?
How you feeling about Raila's, if that comes to that,
Yes,
Bagalo,
yes.
how do you feel about Raila Amolo Odinga's exit from local politics?
He will not exit local politics. It is impossible.
You don't have time.
The AU just put it that you are not supposed to engage in local politics, okay? But he cannot exit local politics. It is impossible.
Would you miss his voice in local politics?
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
When 1970s, when Oginga Odinga was under house arrest and we had a snap election, what did Odinga do? He sent people, go and greet for me Phoebe Asio in Karachuonyo. What did people say? Jaramogi ametuma salamu kwa Phoebe Asio, amemaliza. That's how it is simple. It's called guarding. I don't need to say I support Simba. Orengo, mkienda huko nipeane salamu zangu kwa Simba huko Kasipul Kabondo. And Simba ikisemekana baba ameleta salamu na baba amesema tukusalimie kwa umati, it's done. And I'm telling you how politics is done. So it's very simple.
Yes.
Raila is not leaving the scene anytime soon.
Respond to this question then from one Kevin this morning, and I'm going to read it to you. And it's making it very vivid. And I want you to listen carefully, Ragalo. And I'm going to read it now. That when you look at the Azimio coalition, and remember just how untouchable Raila Amolo Odinga has been, goes on to say, maandamano, holidays, swearing in ceremonies that no one from Azimio could dare do.
No, Kenya, not Azimio, Kenya. Even
within
Ruto himself cannot do.
That's it.
Yes,
Fine.
He
goes on to say,
he can't do.
He goes on to say, I pity Azimio coalition if he leaves.
Let me tell you, I'll give you this. Do you know how much we provide in a campaign for Baba? Do you know we gave selflessly to Baba's campaign and elections? That we offer selflessly. People think that, oh, Baba kona mapesa mingi. Do you know how much we offer selflessly? That is what is waiting Kalonzo. A selfless offer. When you hear people say Baba has fanatical followers, the way they call it, that is what Kalonzo is going to get, a fanatical follow-up. If Kalonzo says tomorrow we are closing Jakanjil supermarket, that road, where Landis is now coming to hit, we will close it because Baba's secretary, ama Baba's mdogo amesema. So Kalonzo is going to get the same fanatical following. So don't worry if Baba is not there. So if we talk about Baba leaving at we are going to be nini, no. ODM will remain there. And ODM will still get counseling from Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. Yeah. Obasanjo coming to Kenya.
Doesn't.
Obasanjo is the head of NADCO. He started all this negotiation and talking behind the scenes. So Obasanjo is still following up on the agreements and that have been ongoing. Some of them we not private too, we don't know. So if NADCO had, they had an agreement that you go on with your presidency,
yes,
but should we have an opening somewhere, we'll give it to Raila. It is on Obasanjo's honors to come and ask Ruto, hey, by the way, we have an opening in AU.
Yes.
Would you mind supporting Raila for this? So could we say again that Obasanjo is the one that pushed Ruto? That Ruto is not in his brilliance, the way people think that he's a brilliant politician, that he decided. Could it be that now Obasanjo asked Ruto, now keep your word, bro, keep your word. But we know he's a person who doesn't keep his word. Because hustlers are more hustlers today than they were before. I'm even richer than some hustlers who were richer than me yesterday. Today, you know me, I'm a member of a dynasty. Yeah. So I'm richer than them. They are poorer today. Why are they poorer? Because they were lied to. And I want to remind the hustlers that there is no country that has been led by a poor person. You can never lead a country when you are poor. You cannot even be a leader of a cattle dip if you have one cow. The guy who has 20 cows will be the chairman of the cattle dip. You understand? So there is no day a poor person has ever led. Even in the Bible, all those kings were rich people. Even David was somewhere taking care of goats, not one or two. There were hundreds. So there is no day we were going to get a cabinet of poor people, that we have a CEO of Safaricom who was pulling mkokoteni. Hustlers, you remain there bana tukikula mavitu tamu. So Raila is a member of the dynasty, and if a dynasty is going to take AU, hustlers keep calm, because a hustler will never be the chair of AU.
Joyce, some question that I want to ask you. Do you feel like there's somebody within the Azimio coalition who's going to have the same voice as one Raila Amolo Odinga? Not even voice, to even drive the opposition activities, just like one Raila Amolo Odinga has been pushing it?
Thank you. Before I answer that question, you had asked why the face of Obasanjo is in this country for some months now.
Yes.
It is in the public domain that President Ruto is a son-in-law,
yes,
of that country. The daughter of the president is married in that country. Prior to it, he didn't have alliance with the Nigerian country. President Ruto wanted to tag along prominent faces so that this battle on AU can be made a bit easier. If I bring in the face of Obasanjo, I may not be good support with my neighbors, but this old man from Nigeria have been there. His track record is known. I'll tag him along too so that he can do a lot of damage control for me.
Yes.
So bringing in the former president is strategic. Azimio, we are intact. Our house is strong. Raila started preparing for his way last year when we were celebrating his brother's birthday. And he made a candid statement.
Yes.
He said,
yes,
that my brother Karonso have been with this family for a long, long time. He have stood with this family. You know, the family is not the DNA of Raila and his brother Oburu. It's the DNA of politics and leadership. So literally, I see it on a two-way. That could be that Baba may secure that seat, courtesy of both internal and external forces. As Azimio, we are prepared. Baba have been mentioning it. He've not been dilly-dallying with the same. We are strong in the Azimio. The generals are ready. Come 2027, we'll hit the ground running. I don't need to take you back to the current senator of Kebu. He mentioned something. And he did not complete that sentence.
Yes.
Already you can tell that there is a voice of dissent and discord in that house of Kenya Kwanza. Because the senator of Kiabu, who is an elected member, Senate from Kenya Kwanza, thinks otherwise. So even when they meet today, I'm sure they will kick out the members of press from that hall so that they can do a lot of in-house issues for the voices that are pro or against.
Yes.
Either way, we are happy that say the former president found it not wise to push up that agenda. And perhaps because in the past he has said, I know who the 50th president of this Republic of Kenya is. I've worked with him. Take my message to the bank. Members from Mount Kenya refused to take that message to the bank. Of course, my brother Eric here have been calling them names. I do not want to mention that name. That he's been using, it's not a good name. It's immediately after Saturday, and we have a lot of anointing oil, so it's not good to mention that name. But we realize that either way, Baba's name will not miss from the Rocco front.
Yes.
You do not need to be physically here, Simba. Even if you are outside the streets, we can see Lookuptv in you. So Baba's voice, figures, shadows will still remain in Kenya.
Yes.
Way past 2027.
That's where the problem begins. I don't know whether you've looked at the Standard this morning, Sheila, if you can, because Bagala, I want you to look at the Standard this morning. It's got the story of Joho saying that he wants to run for presidency in 2027. But Joyce, it's coming at a time where, well, Baba is, but like Mugai is calling it, his political career is essentially just growing now beyond the Kenyan boundaries. But the people with local ambitions here within the same coalition or within the party that do not know exactly how they're going to be led, if indeed Baba leaves. Is that what it is now? That you're saying, well, we're strong, but in that, there is even Joho saying, well, I'm running in for 2027.
Eric had said there are some good sentiments before, that once one general is out, several other generals will come in. And I've just taken words from you. That Joho has come in and said, well, come 2027.
I'm going to run in?
I'm going to run. If I look into the headline of the Star newspaper, I do not see, and it's in black and white, bold, cheers, from cheers to GS. I do not want to ask my brother Mugai.
Yes.
He's a brother from the other mother. If RUTO, the Standard newspaper says that from cheers to GS,
yes.
RUTO no longer daring of many. Is this the ambassador, the scout, the marketer, who want you to take your candidate to a position? Yes. You know, some of us came from yesterday. Sunday was the first Sunday rent. We do not speak rice. I love what Mugai says when he says he does not try. This message does not augur well for Kenyans. I want us to re-strategize on fronting Baba for that position. But this face is not the good face for fronting Baba.
Mungai, let's clear this. I'm going to put the same questions to you as well. It's sort of a neutral question to you, knowing exactly where you stand now. I mean, I find myself in a very peculiar stage. I've never seen you support Raila Amolo Odinga. I don't even know how to phrase this question to you. It will be interesting to hear the comments that come from you before we move to the next part of our discussion here this morning. That indeed, if Raila Amolo Odinga leaves today, the president will be happy. And he says that because he has spoken about it when he was at Raila Amolo Odinga's staff. He said, if it's Kalonzo, fine. I'll be happy with Kalonzo being the one I'm going to run in 2027. Do you believe that there's nobody within that azimio coalition now who can take up the mantle that Baba's, I would say, soft exit from local politics is going to have on the opposition?
What I would want to tell Baba supporters is this, especially the budding leaders.
Yes.
Power is not given, power is taken. And I want to encourage the young leaders in Azimio that the Kenyan government has created an opportunity for the first time, for the first time, for the first time,
for the Azimio coalition to figure itself out.
For Luo Nyanza to groom a leader that will succeed the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And I have said, power is not given, it is taken. This is a good opportunity for the young intellectual, and there are many. You'll be surprised, there are many, but the question is, once Raila exits the local scene, who is going to take the mantle in Luo Nyanza? And there are several leaders who might do that actually. One of them is Kidero. The other one is P.S. Raymond. We have people like Kajwang.
Yes.
Junet Mohammed now is not seeing eye to eye with the brigade, but even him, he stands a chance. We have Otiende Amolo. There are many leaders who can take over the mantle, including Orengo.
Orengo is saying Raila Amolo Odinga is going to resign.
He just wants to look like he's... You see, I told you, there are leaders in Luo Nyanza whose currency is Raila. They must spend that coin called Raila at any given moment. They must be seen to spend that coin. And so, and that's why I'm saying Raila should stop listening to the naysayers and know that for sure this is his time to steer the ship at the African continent. But there's something else I'm also foreseeing, which I think should be very interesting, especially with the remarks by Karongo Adhangwa.
Yes.
And with regard to the retired president, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta. And what I foresee is that there is going to be a realignment. Because remember, Uhuru Kenyatta is really, there is a certain skill that Raila possesses in terms of mobilization and implementation that Uhuru lacks in earnest. And I say that this will be for the first time an opportunity for Uhuru to prove himself as a politician. And why is this important? Because for a long time we have seen an Uhuru who got into power through President Moi. Groomed by the president, Makto steps down for him to get into the National Assembly, moves along. Here comes William Ruto, propels him to the presidency. At the tail end, they say that, you know, it is not Ruto who propelled you. If Ruto is man enough, let's see if he can become president. Ruto goes ahead and becomes president, confirming the fears that indeed Ruto was the kingmaker. But this season has taught the former president that power is important. Power is important because you're able to protect not just your interests and your family interests, but to an extent the communal interest, okay? And this is for the first time, in my opinion, where we are going to see the re-emergence of Uhuru, not necessarily in an open manner, but it could be a subtle manner, in terms of him being an effective politician,
yes,
opposition leader. Now, Uhuru might not have the characteristics of Raila in terms of opposition. But one thing that has it going for Uhuru is that, you remember when Kalonzo tried opposition, a guy called Fazul Mohammed, when he was the CEO of the NGO board, they freezed his accounts, and they could not access funding. Same thing happened to Raila Foundation. But the beauty with someone like Uhuru Kenyatta is that he's like a, what do we call that animal with 7 heads?
An octopus.
Not an octopus, lev something. I'll remember the name. So that when you cut one head, he has several. He has several and multiple sources of cash, so that you can't just pin him to one. And that's why he was being accused of funding maandamano, and yet you could not follow the money trail.
Yes.
I can tell you for a fact, in 2027, if you are a politicopreneur, if you are a polypreneur, 2027 is the year to beat. Because then, it is that time, you remember Uhuru's last tenure, no, not Uhuru, Kibaki's last tenure.
Yes.
We had a scenario where people came with their parties, and people said, okay, for presidency we'll give Kibaki, but for these other seats, leave for us to organize ourselves.
Yes.
And I foresee the same scenario in 2027, where Uhuru will re-emerge as a political force to contend with, especially in terms of these other elective seats. I do not foresee him tinkering a lot with the presidential one, but he'll be a force to contend with when it comes to the MP seat. So Raila's exit is good for Uhuru's re-emergence, and for him to be able to stand on his own 2 feet.
Pretty much. Ragalo, that's a proper introduction to that particular conversation that I wanted us to have this morning as well. Part 2 of our morning conversation then begins with that introduction from one Eric Mungai. So here's what I want us to watch. I just want us to watch exactly what Uhuru Kenyatta said at that barrier yesterday, then come back and table that conversation for what is really going on in Mount Kenya. Ragalo, every other time we sit here, we have to figure out what's going on in Mount Kenya. And it's as close as we can get to a general election. Let's watch exactly what he said, come back and talk about it.
Pengine unaangalia unashika kichwa unasema dhaibu ito Jehova. Pengine unajiuliza ni kulia, pengine unacheka, lakini Kenya ni nyumbani. Tunaendelea, tunafikia wale wako mema, lakini wakati nilikuwa kwa uongozi nilikuwa naambia watu kitu kimoja. Kama wewe ni kiongozi, kama wewe ndio umepatiwa steering wheel ya kuendesha, kama ni kaunti ya Nyandarua, kama ni constituency hii, kama ni nchi ya Kenya, pale popote, kama wewe ni kiongozi wa maana, kiongozi wa maana anashika steering wheel, anaangalia mbele, sio kila saa kuangalia rear view ati ametoka wapi. Unaangalia mbele. Ukiwa mtu wa kuendesha ukiangalia rear view mirror, wewe ni mtu wa kupeleka gari katika yone yako ingia mtaro. Kwa ni mwenda utokoria bururi. Rora imbere mumenye kuria muratwara. Omwatira na ajungu na ige na maundu matari kuria mali. Hakuna pahali mnaenda. Hakuna pahali mnapeleka nchi. Nchi inataka viongozi ambao wako na maono ya mbele. Kwa sababu hiyo ndio itakuwa ya manufaa kutatua
spot on, but then as you respond to that, there's a conversation of how majority of those Mount Kenya leaders now were seeking the president's, handshake immediately after that function.
Let me
You saw that?
There are two guys here.
Yes.
One was Moses Kuria. The other lady,
Sabina Chege.
Sabina Chege.
And the DP as well.
And you could see Sabina talking like an angel.
We're going to play that clip for you.
Oh, President.
Yes.
You be calling us. We still wait for your state guidance for where we want to go. Sabina, who overthrow the house of the king?
The Kikuyu community has no king.
My friend, in Luo community, and I want to teach you this.
Yes,
where listen,
Kikuyus have council of elders, not
where
kings.
Luo, let me tell you, let me teach you this. It's African, where dowry has been paid and children born, there is no divorce. There is only separation. Divorce is white people's mentality.
Yes.
So if you tell me that Sabina divorced Uhuru Kenyatta, that was a lie. It was separation. Moses Kuria even made it even harder for him. So his statement was even negative. I had to drive on the wrong side, running to come here.
That's it.
Okay?
That's it.
And I'm here to tell you, listen to that arrogancy. That is not how you talk to your leader. He thinks he's bigger than Uhuru. He will never be. And someone should tell him in capital. Election iliisha, sasa ni wakati wa tufanye kazi pamoja. Who are you supposed to tell? Is he supposed to tell you or you to tell him? My friend, discipline is very important anywhere. I cannot tell Raila. I can only offer Baba. Election iliisha, lakini nitakuja kukuona tuongee. Election iliisha bwana. Inafaa, I mean, who are you telling? Ni mtoto yako?
Adwino election iliisha.
Nani ajue election iliisha?
Iliisha.
So unafunza nani? Ni mtoto yako? He's still a president. We have American constitution. We don't have name former. People should learn English. In America, we say President Clinton. We never say former President Clinton, my friend. We say President Bush. Because he never lost an election. He came out because of, it is President Bush, President Clinton, President Washington. They are presidents. So Uhuru is President Uhuru. This notion that former president is African, it's backwardness. It's Prime Minister Raila. It's not former Prime Minister. Where is the other, who has taken over for him to become former? I mean, it's president. These people don't lose their names. They remain. You become professor today. You become Professor Nani, even when you're not teaching. At 90 years, you're called Professor Simba. When you die, you will write there, Professor Simba. We don't write, my friend, these things, mbona wa Afrika wanapenda kudharau viongozi wao wakitoka kwa viti? Hii madharau inaanzanga wapi? Now Uhuru Kenyatta, and I keep saying, I met one leader who was there. I met one leader in a hospital in Thika Avenue, to be precise, 1.5 weeks ago, actually last week. And he told me, Eric, I listened to you so much. And the only thing I don't like about you, you talk that Uhuru is our leader in Mount Kenya. Kwani who is our leader? Me, I'm in Mount Kenya. I vie here, I stay here. I have my life here. Who is my leader? It's not Gachagua, it's Uhuru. I told him, and Gachagua will never be my leader. It's Uhuru. So, who is your leader, you? It's Gachagua. Then tell him to stand for a seat. Then we'll vote him.
But he was an elected MP.
MP is not presidency. We'll vote him for presidency.
President,
so what I'm trying to say,
Uhuru
remains de facto leader of Mount Kenya region.
Doesn't.
So Uhuru should give direction of Mount Kenya region. Like he had said it well and very well. Uhuru will decide. And let me tell you, why the mountain is restless. Why is the mountain heckling everyone, every place? I thought hecklers were Luos. I mean, people said, wale watu wa kutupa mawe na kupiga kelele, who are they? I am a Luo. They were Luos. Kwani Kikuyus have become hecklers? When did they take over from us? We didn't even give them the baton. They stole it. Who told them to take our baton? They should stop heckling leaders. They should leave it to us to keep heckling. So now, why are they heckling? They're heckling because, listen here, Simba, they're heckling because the Safari, this thing called Hustler Fund is untenable. I've not seen a millionaire from Hustler Fund. They were promised to be billionaires. It is untenable because wamegonjeka hawapati madawa hospitali. They are restless because school fee is back. They were not paying school fee during Kenyatta's time. You take your kid for free in a secondary school, which is day secondary school. Now they are paying. They are heckling because they cannot afford unga. They are heckling because we've not seen mtu wa mkokoteni amekuwa CEO wa KPA, Kenya Ports Authority. Mtu wa mkokoteni sasa ndiye ana sweat inapita katikati ya uti wa mgongo ikienda Jerusalem kule chini. That is the sweat movement. They are sweating. And actually God has done well. The temperature is even higher now. Now you can imagine the amount of water the hustler is drinking while sweating. Let them sweat. Mtoto akiambiwa afuate nyayo fulani na babake akose kusikia, hata Mwenyezi Mungu anamwachilia. Amri za Mungu za kwanza, tii baba ya Mungu wako aliye juu mbinguni, fuata maagizo yake. Na amri ya pili baada ya kwanza na ya pili ya tatu na simu, heshimu wazazi wako, uishi miaka mzuri duniani. Mzazi si mwenye amekuumba. Mzazi ni mtu yote anakupatia wosia na mwelekezo wa maisha. Ukikota kumtii, hautapata baraka duniani. Kama walikataa kutii Uhuru Kenyatta, let them sweat. Let them carry the load. And actually I'm happy ati wanangangana. Wanangangana nini? I thought it's the Luos who ngangana. I thought the other communities, I thought Raila was going home with his Luos and Luos are going to gnash their teeth. Why are they crying? I thought that the ones who should be in Canaan today, as we should be in wilderness, they should not. This should not be Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya have the best roads in Kenya. Look at Thika Highway when you go. Look at everywhere. Membli Estate, go down there. Kenyatta Road on this side. You can see the houses there. Aye, those people are suffering in those beautiful houses. Hey, may God come down.
Here's what I want us to pick it up from what Ragal has left it.
Yes.
And Sheila, let's jump in then to that submission for Sabina Chege. And there's one thing that I also like for Mr. Mungai to listen in as well. So I can point out to her particular statement is very telling of a directionless state of affairs. Let's take a look.
After politics, Your Excellency, we are still your daughters and your sons. We still love you. We still need your counsel. Dukana no gione hitwe tuitage tukaria nawe ukatutara tonno tukwendete. Kai witoro kurathima muno to the Kingoris family. We pray for you. May God give you peace that surpasses all the peace. We will stand with you wherever you need us. We are.
Fact nimekuja nimesikia ndugu yangu Uhuru Kenyatta ako hapa. Nilikuwa na drive on the wrong side. Nikuja hapa nimwambie my friend, uchaguzi lisha, tukae pamoja, tusonge mbele, tujenge Kenya yetu. Na ni kwa hiyo spirit pia hapo mimi naunga mkono hii maneno ya rafiki yangu Raila Odinga apewe kazi huko. Kwa sababu akipata hiyo kazi, Kenya imepata kazi.
All right. I don't know, but we didn't have audio in the studio because I really wanted Joyce to listen to that particular statement. Again, let's listen to it again and come back and talk about it.
So even after politics, Your Excellency, we are still your daughters and your sons. We still love you. We still need your counsel. Dukana no gione hitwe tuitage tukaria nawe ukatutara tonno tukwendete. Kai witoro kurathima muno to the Kingoris family. We pray for you. May God give you peace that surpasses all the peace. We will stand with you wherever you need us. We are.
Fact nimekuja nimesikia ndugu yangu Uhuru Kenyatta ako hapa. Nilikuwa na drive on the wrong side. Nikuja hapa nimwambie my friend, uchaguzi lisha, tukae pamoja, tusonge mbele, tujenge Kenya yetu. Na ni kwa hiyo spirit pia hapo mimi naunga mkono hii maneno ya rafiki yangu Raila Odinga apewe kazi huko, kwa sababu akipata hiyo kazi, Kenya imepata kazi.
I want you to listen to those particular submissions right there. And Joyce, I'm not very vast with Kikuyu language, but then if I caught what she spoke about in the first area, she spoke about how we still need you. We still need your counsel. That we are your children. Is that not your leader that you're speaking to?
In the Bible, there's the story of the prodigal son.
Yes.
And I think the same Bible should have brought in an issue of a prodigal daughter. Yes. But let us still connect to the prodigal son. Before I go to the issue of Sabina, from the crib that was prayed on Uhuru, he said, Kenya ni nyumbani. It's like he was trying to decode that message. That wachaneni na mambo ya AU, Kenya ni nyumbani. Mimi niko sawa hapa. Kenya ni nyumbani. During the last year when we did his birthday party celebrations that had not been organized, but spiritually they just emerged from all the local villages. Yes. There was a popular song that was being sung in Kikuyu. Mogai will tell you because he comes from that village where that song comes from. Nikwanyi itanire kumeshikana. Those are the Kikuyus that were singing that song. And it was only meant for the ears. And even when Sabina talks again here, yes, on Saturday, she still goes back to her local dialect of Nikwanyi itanire kumeshikana. She has said, Kaidre call us back. Tuite. We'll come back and listen to you. Is this the same Sabina Kiage who did some small dramas on the Jubilee Party? Have she seen the right from Saul now to Paul? That last year she did not want to hear the words of Uhuru Kenyatta, and on Saturday she wanted to hear the words, the wisdom from from Kenyatta. Yes. I think there's a lot of water that is passing under the bridge that we need now. We forget now the wrongs that were done yesteryears. Yes. And we only deal with now the issues that are on the ground.
On that particular aspect for the PS Labour, talking about like when I heard he was here, I rushed here to come and tell him, please, let's work together. Is that somebody who is your problem already, that you want him on your side? Is that not the picture that we're getting? That we need you on our side because we know your impact. Is that what it is, Joyce?
Moses Kuria tells Moses Kuria is a Catholic, for all people who do not know.
Yes.
And he's a good brother to Mogai because they talk the truth, including even the DP himself. So he literally said what he meant, that I used the wrong side of the road. I found it not wise to wait for the wrong queue.
Does it?
So that I can rush here and meet you one-on-one and tell you something. One, this was his former area MP, because when he was in power, MK was the area MP.
Does it?
So these are people who know each other. And he sought an opportunity to talk some words into him. Sabina Kiage also harms up the same words. Chorus back. Moses Kuria tells him, I rushed here so that I can tell you, let us work together. It tells you one thing, Simba and my brother Mogai, that the center is not holding. Because if you are cabinet secretary and you want to go to the other side of the divide and seek support, why do you need support from the other side of the divide if your house is in order? It shows that house, that political house is not in order. The editors of both the Standard and the Nation are like, they read from the same page. Are they also Christians? Both headlines tells you so many things about the mountain. The Standard tells you, RUTO is no longer a darling of many. The Daily Nation tells you something else. That the mountain is crumbling the mountain. The mountain that he told us it was very easy for him to crib. Right now, it's not cribable. It has a lot of mud. And it is the high time that we from members of from Mount Kenya, we do not hold grudges.
Yes.
We do not have issues with Sabina Chege. She has stepped on our toes severally. In the spirit of rent, we are, as Catholics, we are observing rent. We've chosen to forgive Sabina and move on. And when we move on, we want to tell both Sabina and MK, come back, but come slowly. Don't come back with your terms.
Yes.
Sasa mkuje pole pole.
That's it. Here's the thing, Eric Mungai, please make sense of this morning, and they're listening. Why would you seek counsel from a man you don't regard to have impact in an area where you are? Number two, why would you want to speak so much? I mean, if Ragalo was in the studio, Mungai, and you were, for the sake of this conversation, you were in the CBD, and then you use the wrong side of the road, because you've had Mungai is here only for 20 minutes, you just want to see him. If that man is not the man, why would you bother to waste your time and break the law, knowing very well that you can get arrested and even cause accidents, just to see him for a minute and tell him, Bwana Ragalo nimekuona leo? Is that not the man? Is that not the man? Is that not the king? Mungai, is that not the king?
Yes.
Why would you?
He can make you drive on wrong side.
That's it. Why would you seek counsel? Why would that's it? Why would you seek counsel from a man who's got no impact at all? Why forgiveness? Why are you asking for forgiveness? Mungai, it is not the man.
I like the...
When you see Mungai hold the chin.
No. I like the look on your faces.
Guess what? We've lost it already. Yeah. But anyway, Mungai, you can go right.
Let me say this. I am glad that Uhuru has come out in public, especially during this Lent season, because then our words will be measured, and in the spirit of Easter and in the spirit of reconciliation, then my words must therefore be reconciliatory, just like Sabina's and Moses Kuria's words were reconciliatory. And you know, Moses Kuria is a staunch Catholic, and Catholics tend to observe the Lent season, including even Uhuru is a staunch Catholic, tend to observe the Lent season in earnest more than many other denominations do, and therefore I must also adopt a tone that adapts to the Lent season. And to adopt that tone is to say that there is a Swahili saying, mukuki kwa nguruwe, kwa binadamu uchungu. And what that saying seeks to address is the fact that sometimes when you're in power, you can do things to other people. Because in Uhuru's speech yesterday, or the day before yesterday, he did say about leaders bickering and some leaders keeping on lying to people and you know, innuendos, gossips and stuff like that. But the reality is, we as the Mount Kenya region, we saw the best and worst of Uhuru when he was in power. And we need to accord him the necessary respect he deserves, not only as a former head of state, but also as a fellow clansman and also as an elder in my community. I mean, you cannot deny him that stature. And it is within those confines of that stature that Moses Kuria, Sabina Chege, also the governor for Nyeri reached out to him also while he was living in the vehicle and said they need to have Ambuzi together. And because that is expected of an elder statesman. But be that as it may, I must dissuade newspapers and the media from portraying the mountain as having a slippery slope. Granted as it may be naturally, and snowy as it may be, but we, the people of mountain, know how to ascend to the top. And as we speak now, there is no vacuum of leadership in Mount Kenya. The fact that the former president emerges in a funeral and there is excitement, you know, in Kikuyu we say you praise a cow that it has milk when the cow is already dead. And sometimes it is expected that we will we will be excited when the former head of state appears in public. But as I've told you on this set before, there is a grieving process which we must allow ourselves, especially those who supported Uhuru, to go through. And the grieving process portends that there will be denial, there will be anger. You know, people will be angry that he left. People will deny that he has actually left. That is why you see newspaper headlines always denying there is no Mount Kenya kingpin, so and so. The denial is part of the
Mount Kenya kingpin?
Wait. So denial is
Yes.
part of the grieving process.
Yes.
And I have said time and again, it is okay to allow staunch supporters of the former president to go through that process until they reach a level of acceptance that Uhuru has retired, and honorably so, he has gone into retirement.
Okay.
What we have now is at the top level is His Excellency
at the helm of the Mount Kenya interests also spoke this weekend. He actually said, it's very unfortunate that I missed one Uhuru Kenyatta right at this particular function, but I wanted to meet him and tell him we need to be friends. I mean, Mungai, again, please indulge us. Take us a minute, just take a minute, because I want to give it back to Ragalo and Joyce to start summarizing this morning. Why bother if indeed it has no impact?
Why drive on the
Why
wrong
bother?
side?
Why you as the kingpin? Why do you bother to be friends with him? I mean, you're the kingpin, so whatever you say goes.
Yes.
Why bother to be friends with him?
Remember, if there is a person who has been given a good heart, and if there is a person who exemplifies the season of Lent, is His Excellency the Deputy President. For the reason that there is no man who underwent torture in the hands of the previous regime than himself and the current president. And for that man to stand on a dais and seek reconciliation from his tormentor is something that we should all emulate as a country. And it should also teach us that when you're in power, it is important to treat other people as fellow human beings and not abuse power. And therefore, Gashagua's coming out and saying that he would have wanted to meet the former president is coming from a statesman who understands that sometimes you don't have to keep on fighting, because Uhuru, as a former head of state, even has more advice to offer. Sometimes you have the wherewithal to say, let bygones be bygones.
That's fine. Mr. Bagala, I'll be coming to you. In fact, Sheila, you do have that clip for one Rigathi Gachagua essentially speaking about him being very sorry for missing one Uhuru Kenyatta in that particular function. Can we play it so that we make sense of it?
Actually, he dodged it.
Yeah.
He should have been there.
Yeah.
Looking forward to meet my friend, my former boss, and my older brother, President Uhuru Kenyatta. In fact, when I was told he was here, I was very excited. But the funeral took a bit longer, but I'm told he had to leave for some other function. I wanted to come and greet him because I've not seen him for a while, and tell him it is well. He is our son. He's our brother. We had some little disagreement. It is over. Elections are over. There's a new government, and he's our leader. And I knew Narikaitikagate. But I joked him with a money. Tukwendete nitukuhoyagira na niwikite wega tondu kuma riu Uhuru ni wekire guthie kuri indo ciaku kahora riu okaga mathikota maya okateithia andu gathie hau hangi uguo niguo muthamaki ekaga na koguo president witu Uhuru wa Kenyatta president wa kana ndegwire andu othe ndikae kuigua mundu gitaro giki uramucokeria kahora mutengura aheo gitio giake athie ahuruke na akorwo ni ndamukora ni ndingia mwira uguo tondu gutire mundu wina uru nake kaundu kau twari nako no kaundu kanini. And you know, when you look at these things, myself, I stayed with President Uhuru Kenyatta for 18 years as his PA, as his confidant, as his defender. The years we stayed together as friends are 17. The ones we disagree.
Just before you come in, I'm just bringing a couple of comments on that particular video that we play for you right there. Ngacha Njadha who's saying hakuna kitu angeambia watu isipokuwa tu juu ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Number 2, there's Murioki James who's saying after how they tarnished his name during their inauguration, Uhuru should never fall to this insincere phrases at all. This is Elistress who's saying the body language of the people tells it all. Gachagua is not a darling to the people. Whenever he opens his mouth, people are worried about what he's just about to say. Regalo, why would the deputy president be so excited to meet Uhuru Kenyatta, to tell him what that is already not said?
Let me tell you, I'm going to the mind of a medic. A mind of a medic will tell you that in psychology, you'll always be worried, but he who is stronger than you. You'll always be worried. The mind of a psychology will tell you if a child has not done his or her homework that time, they would even pray that the teacher gets sick, that they don't come to class that day.
Yes, sir.
If at all Uhuru was not going for that burial,
yes,
Rigathi Gachagua would have been there earlier.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Uhuru went to that burial. He had 2 burials to attend.
Yes.
So he had to take care of both.
Yes.
So he had to go for this one and the other one. So he had to rush on one, finish, go to the other one.
Yes.
So if at all he went there earlier and eulogized those people,
yes,
and left for another one, it is his wish. If Gachagua wanted to meet Uhuru Kenyatta, did he want to meet him in the funeral? That is where people meet. I'm asking a good question, or maybe a stupid question. Or maybe Simba, I'll wait until you have a funeral in your home. Then what I've always wanted to tell you, I'll come say in Nyamira. This is presidential. He doesn't even need to call Uhuru Kenyatta. He needs to instruct his people, kindly make an appointment for me with Uhuru Kenyatta. It is their problem to fight Uhuru Kenyatta and create an appointment. That is what is presidential.
They paint a picture of we were looking for you, but we're not getting
Yes,
ready.
that's what I'm saying. You should not be looking for, he's a presidential. If a president wants to meet you, Simba, does he call you?
To look good.
Actually, you'll be called by someone else.
Yes.
And even a State House vehicle will be here today, waiting for you to be taken to State House.
Yes.
That is what presidential is. So if Rigathi is presidential, to meet Uhuru is hard. So we wait until someone dies somewhere in Nyahururu and takes an opportunity to go and meet Uhuru Kenyatta. Moses Kuria, Minister for Civil Service.
Yes.
All the civil servants are under you, even the ones that are working for Uhuru Kenyatta. They are your employees. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? If you wanted to meet Uhuru Kenyatta, is it hard to meet him? Do you have to drive on the wrong side? Rushingly could do many accidents. To go and tell Uhuru Kenyatta, by the way, elections are over, we now need to work together. Do you need to wait for a death to happen, then there's a funeral to do that? What are these people saying? They're saying, guys, we still recognize you as our king.
Are they saying
just say a word, and my heart shall be healed.
That's what I wanted to. Joyce, you have 2 minutes then to make the submission.
And tell Eric that.
Yes, well, to make 2 minutes to make the submission. Are they seeking Uhuru Kenyatta's audience for what purpose?
Obvious.
For what purpose? You can say that. I mean, Moses Kuria is seeking Uhuru Kenyatta's audience. I mean, Mungai, we're not painting that picture. He painted that picture himself. That when I had you here, I drove very fast on the wrong side of the road to come see you. Are they seeking us audience? For what purpose?
It has come now to pass that the mountain now seeks the wise words and wisdom from Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I smell a lot of hypocrisy and pretense from the deputy president, because he had just told us from that clip that he was my former boss for 18 years. And I was rushing here so that I can tell him. So if President Kenyatta has 8 lines, telephone lines, his PA knows those numbers. So he does not need the burial ceremony, just like what Eric is saying, to go and meet his former boss. Presidency aside, he does not need he does not need that ceremony. I also see a lot of lack of agenda for the Kenya Kwanza government. That anytime any person starts up, Simba lets us now start counting. The first word will be the elections are over. Who does not know that those general elections were over on proper English, on 9th of August, yes, 2022. So why are you coming to remind us that my name is Joyce? Don't kindly remind me my name is Joyce. It is automatic. So Kenya Kwanza government, start getting your own agendas right. When you start, don't tell us the elections are over. Start looking for another agendas not to sell to the people. Rust receiver.
Yes.
I see, like, immediately prior to visiting, going for the burial, there was a heated moment at Rari in Kiabu, where there was a lot of heckling and harassing from when the president started the journey to the mountain, the 3 days that he went to Sagana. So the DP is coming from a hostile ground several hours prior to Saturday's event.
Yes.
So he's gone there to meet his former boss for PR purposes and for damage control. Because yes, I'm your former, you are my former boss. I went to your home battleground, your home ground at Kiabu. I was heckled. He became emotional because for anybody who prayed that creep, we saw an emotional deputy president who said when the king is here, you don't make noise. But why are members from Kiabu making noise in front of the current king? Because all is not well.
A real king?
My humble opinion.
Does it?
My brother Mugai here with us today.
Yes.
Mountain is crumbling. Climbing the mountain today does not need the rubber shoes that some purposes want.
Yes.
It now need prayers and another strategy. And the strategy is not when you stand up, you tell us when the elections are over. Now the elections are over. Bring in another agenda.
Pretty
Thank
much.
you.
Yes, Sheila, you can start playing your bet because Mungai has already expressed his sentiments on this. 15 seconds then, Mungai. Why are we all looking for the audience of one Uhuru Kenyatta if he's not a man of importance?
I would say that Mount Kenya is a good mountain, and for the purposes of clarification, it is not a volcanic mountain such that each and every time it is erupting, the mountain is dormant,
yes,
and therefore we can work in peace. It is okay. We accept our brothers and sisters who once in a while will go through the mourning period. It is accepted. And I want to assure my fellow Kenyans and those of us who come from Mount Kenya, the mountain is intact and there is no volcanic eruption in the mountain. Thank you and have a good week.
Guess what? That's exactly how we ended this morning. For any other person who wants to take them online, you can at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. The question that we asked this morning, which Ragalo, Joyce and Mungai have answered, is why Uhuru Kenyatta still is rattling the Mount Kenya leaders when it comes to conversations of government agenda and who has the voice in that particular region. How this gonna go? We're just gonna follow on Raila Amolo Odinga's journey in that AU job. And guess what? Any other development, we shall be reporting it right here at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Kiage. Goodbye.